Hello, good morning. Welcome to this latest episode of the Foxes Unleashed. I'm Ryan. It's been a while since I've done a stream. Probably, I think it was a couple of weeks ago the last time I did it. Um, but um, welcome. Um, so what this episode is going to be about my reaction to the winter transfer window that we just had and it's been closed. It shot on this past Monday night. Um, and I have to, so what I've got written down, well, I've done um, a presentation that was with quite a few slides um, for the incomings and the outgoings that we've done during the transfer window. So yeah, we'll get down to it then. Um, so let me just bring that up and start it off for you. Just bear with me a second. Um, there we are. So the Leicester City winter transfer window of 2026. Um, right, let's see if we can all. Let me just activate it. There you go. That's better. So um, Jamal Lascelles is coming from Newcastle on the free transfer. He's a centre back. Um, Divin Mukasa is coming on loan from Manchester City. He's 18 years of age. Um, he can play in a 10 position. He can play as a false 9 at times, but we'll come on to that in a minute. Joe Weibo, who's coming on loan from Southampton. Um, that's to fill the slot in midfield because we're light in that area at the minute. And Juan Witches on loan from Chelsea as well. Those are the incomings. All these have got done at the very last minute. Um, so, those are the incomings. Now, um, so we move on to them. So, to start off with, Marla Sells. Um, so, um, he's a right-footed centre back. He's like 6'2". He has signed for us on a short-term contract until the end of the season on a free transfer. He's a long-serving former Newcastle captain with huge amount of Premier League and Champions League. Well, he's had some Champions League experience from a couple of years ago. Um, uh, he's been in Newcastle for about 11 to 12 years. So, and the Newcastle fans have spoke highly about him. Now, his strengths is his leadership and his organisation skills, which will bring the dressing room authority immediately, which is a good indicator because we haven't had that in our squad. Aerial presence and physicality, and is reliable in defensive set pieces. He's an experienced reader of the game and good at simple, low-risk distribution from the back. His his weaknesses are at this moment in time. He's not as quick as the young centre backs and can be exposed by high-pace attacks. Say, for example, on the counter attack, for example, if we're pushing high up the pitch or something like that. or whilst chasing the game or something, or we're playing a high defensive line. Um, Also, he's had limited game time. Well, it's not just this season, but it's been for the last couple of years. It's been, I think he's missed 80 odd games in the last two seasons. I think he's had ACL problems. So, and has recent low availability which will raise short-term fitness adaptation questions. So obviously, Eddie Howe came out and said, I think it was at the beginning of last month, that he's not feeling too good about his body. Um, so that is what that is about, really. So that's something we've got to be wary of. Um, so I think when the main centre backs come back, I'm not sure if the Cells is going to play that much. So, but that does not mean he'll bring a bit of leadership across the dressing room. So that's important, really. Um, so his role at the club will be as an immediate senior centre back option to stabilise the back line, likely to start or partner a younger centre back while giving defensive leadership. Um, he'll compete with other centre back starters for the first team spot, i.e., one of them being Yanni Vestergaard and a Coley, and obviously the other centre back is Ben Nelson, but he's the main starter now. And useful for management when organisation of calm is required. So the verdict on this, I think, is that, well, my verdict on this would be, after having a bit of time to digest, um, is that it's a short-term, low-risk signing that will significantly strengthen our leadership and area presence as centre-back, which is key for steadying a leaky defence, but not a long-term pace solution. Um, well, our defence has been shocking, really. It's not kept a clean sheet in the last 24 championship games. So, yeah, we need to start keeping the ball out on there if we're going to have a chance of winning games. Now, Finn Mikasa. So, he's a creative, technically gifted left-footed midfield player. He was capable of playing centrally on an advanced attacking role, i.e., like a 10. He could also play um, in the false 9 position. So, obviously, he was born in 22nd of August 2007, joined Manchester City, of course, from West Ham's academy back in 2023. Um, so he's also joined on loan for the rest of this season. Um, his strengths are excellent ball control and vision, and will thrive in tight spaces and can unlock defenders or can unlock a defense. Um, he has a strong creative output at youth level and tends to be prolific in goal involvements, including, i.e., goals and assists in academy matches. And he's comfortable linking the play between the midfield and the attack. His weaknesses are going to be that he's still relatively young and untested at championship level, obviously, and it's going to take time to adapt to physicality and the fact the consistency will be open to question too. Um, he's had obviously limited um, senior level experience despite some senior cup outings for Manchester City. Um, so his role will be for us will be to provide creativity and attacking impetus for midfield. and is expected to challenge for minutes in central or attacking midfield. Obviously, that is where mainly difficult over Weed. He will probably challenge that for the 10 position. Um, He'll add a different stylistic option compared with more defensive or direct midfield profiles. So my verdict on this would be he's the one that excites me a little bit more out of the few signings we've made. He is a high potential young talent on loan and will offer us flair and creativity to the midfield, but will need championship minutes to translate youth promise into a senior impact. Um, so, moving on then, Joe Weibo. The profile of his is that he is a central midfielder. I think he plays in a kind of a box to box role um, with a strong technical ability and versatility, and he could play deeper, like which is in an 8 role, or more advanced, which is in a 10. He obviously came out um, when he did his first interview about what the type of player that he is regarding his role and his positioning. So he's joined for the rest of the season on loan from Southampton, obviously. He has made 100 plus senior appearances for them in the Prem and the Championship. Um, Plenty of pedigree. He may bring some common leadership, perhaps. Um, he's technically composed on the ball with good passing range and ability to link the play between the defence and the attack. He, Obviously, he's versatile, has played in a variety of midfield roles, which is useful in our current squad. The weaknesses are that he's not really the quickest or most dynamic midfielder. Obviously, now he's 29 years of age. So the pace and physical burst are going to be um, below a little bit where he needed, where he should be a little bit. And obviously, the second one is the key. He hasn't had any game time and hasn't been a regular starter of Southampton this season. He's fallen down the pecking order. So that's why they've sent him out alone. So his role at the club will be he probably will bring a little bit of stability and experience to the midfield as lack consistency, apart from I would say Jordan James to be honest, who's at the moment out injured for a substantial period. So he'll likely to rotate with existing midfielders and support in both defending phases and the build up. And the verdict I think will be, even though I'm not completely overwhelmed with this signing, but I could put up with it because of the amount of the lack of options that we've got in midfield. Is that he'll bring composure and a little bit of experience to midfield. He ain't flashy, but a valuable stabiliser during this tricky season. John Richards now. He's a Jamaican international striker, tall and physically strong forward, brought in on loan for the rest of the season. He can also play, obviously, out on the right hand side. Um, he joined Chelsea from the Phoenix Academy in 2024. Um, he's featured regularly for their under 21s, but has yet to make a senior club appearance. He's had 14 caps for his country, Jamaica, and has scored 2 goals. Now, his strengths he'll impose physical presence in an area of threat, useful for direct play and hold up situations. Um, he has a good finishing instincts at youth level and strong goal involvement history in the academy matches. Um, he'll offer us a different attacking profile where he can stretch defenses and attract attention for teammates. Now, His weaknesses will be that he's still obviously developing. That's what, just like Picasso is, um, with limited senior experience and game time, um, and will also need to adapt physically and to the well, phrase that again, adapt to the physicality and the pace of the league, which will be a key challenge for him, just like with Picasso. His role will be that he'll add depth to the forward line and provide an option to the attack or come off the bench. I think most of the fan base would probably rather him start, to be honest, because we can't trust at the minute Jordan Ayew or Neil Passing Daka in any way, shape, or form to put the ball in there. It also can be a strategic loan signing which is focused on growth and first team aspect. So my verdict is on this one. I think he's an exciting young striker that will bring a bit of physicality, goal threat potential, and is primarily a development focused attacking reinforcement this season, the rest of this season. Now, the outgoings, Ralph Fast has gone to Monaco on loan, which I'm pleased about. Hopefully they'll um, hopefully that turns into a permanent deal. Boubacar Samari, he's left the football club. He's gone to Al Duhail, which is a club in Qatar. Um, that's huge, significant money off the books regarding his wages. So I'm pleased with that. Sammy Braybrook's gone on loan to Chesterfield for the rest of this season. Um, Brandon Cover's gone to Rotherham United on a permanent deal. Um, Jake Evans, I think most of the fans would have wanted to have seen him have a little bit more minutes under his belt, which he hasn't had. He's gone to Northampton Town on loan for some game time. And Chris Popoff, the striker, has gone to Morecambe on loan of the National League. So, now, so the first one to start off with Ralph Fass. So, the Belgian centre-back has moved on, obviously, to Monaco on loan until the end of the season. The deal includes an option to buy at the end of the loan, which, according to reports, is between 4.3 million to 8.6 million. Well, the obvious reasons why he left. He's fallen down the pecking. He fell down the pecking order under Marty Cifuentes. Obviously, he's now sacked, of course, and was no longer a regular starter. So the move has offered Ralph Fass a chance for consistent first-team football and a fresh start in League 1. Anyways, I'm happy that he's gone there. The majority of the fans have seen enough of him and want him out. And understandable, because I want him out as well, permanently, to get money off the books. So, impact on the club will be that a senior centre back departing, of course. Well, I hardly call it any leadership because he has hardly brought any of that. But any kind of experience is partly replaced by Jamal Lascelles, who I think can't do any worse, really, to be honest. A while for him instead of Fass. So, defensive depth will remain stable rather than weakened. And the wage bill, this is the key one, wage bill eased and squad. And refreshes a little bit in the squad. The risks, and to note down, or notes, are the option to buy could generate useful funds. The Fass's injury earlier into his Monaco spell is limiting his availability, which may affect Monaco's decision on the buy option. If Lascelles struggles physically, Fass's exit may feel bigger. My verdict is Well, with the sales arriving now until the end of the season, fastest loan exit looks a balanced squad refresh rather than a weakening, while keeping potential resale value intact. Now, moving on to Bakari Somali. So he's moved on permanently from us to Al Daheo SC from in Qatar for an undisclosed fee. Um, he spent 3.5 seasons with us, um, which hasn't really gone too well, really. Um, despite the upcoming promise and his potential. Um, Reasons why he left, well, his contract was running down to the last few months, and with midfield depth evolving, we, the club agreed the sale to secure funds rather than risk losing him for nothing. So a permanent move has offered the player a fresh start and a new project abroad. So the impact on us would be that next season's reduced the depth in deeper midfield areas, but this is partly offset by Joe Weeble's loan arrival. Um, it's also financially sensible from a wage perspective, freeing up the wage budget and reducing the risk given his high salary, which was around 80,000 a week. It's left space for the midfield options to step up or for tactical reshaping under interim management. Um, the risk and notes are that the club loses a technically capable midfielder with experience in English and senior and Spanish leagues. Well, we haven't we've hardly seen enough of that really, um, despite the potential that he had. The fee being undisclosed is uncertainty about direct reinvestment capacity. Now, the verdict of this is, from my perspective on this, is that this is a commercially pragmatic exit to manage the finances and squad with them. Short-term debt is reduced, but the departure will help balance the books and clarify the midfield hierarchy, pretty much. Now, Sammy Braybrook. He's joined Chesterfield on loan until the end of the season. Um, Earlier on this season, he had a loan spell down in Newport County where he did well. The reasons why he left is because the loan is aimed at giving Braybrook consistent senior football to aid development recover momentum that has followed earlier injury setbacks and multiple academy loan experiences. And obviously, the club wanting to build robustness and match sharpness in a competitive first team environment. Now, impact on this will be as short term squad depth and defensive midfielder side are reduced, but the move prioritises play development rather than thinning senior outfield player options. His game time down at Chesterfield should help him return stronger and more experienced, which could be beneficial for our longer term plans. Now, the risk and the nose will be that he's still breaking back into senior football after an earlier injury periods and varied loan spells. The League Two loan is a growth of opportunity more than a first team exit. Now, my actual verdict on this would be, I think, is that a development focused loan that prioritizes consistent playing time and match experience over immediate squad contribution, which for all parties is a sensible move for promising young talent. Now, I think this is the last two now. Brandon Cover, um, well, last three, sorry. Brandon Cover, our academy graduate has joined Waltham United on a permanent deal for undisclosed fee. Um, the contract is reported to run for 18 months with an option for an extra year. Um, the reasons why he left is because after progressing through our youth system and enjoying loan spells at Port Vale and Fleetwood Town, Cover was looking for a stable first team platform, something that Rotherham United can offer. Um, he's found first team opportunities very limited at the King Power, which has meant a permanent exit made any, made sense for his development and career progression. Now, the impact on this will be obviously there he is in the Rotherham United shirt. There's That's a bit of a loss of the homegrown squad option in midfield and right back, which is slightly reduces the fringe depth. With several midfield and defensive midfield options still available, first team impact will remain minimal. Financially, it's also sensible to convert a youth prospect into a sale rather than continue short-term loans. So he has senior experience in League Two and League One, but the club itself will need other young prospects to step up if injuries arise. So I think this is on my verdict on this. I think looking at it, I think it's a sensible move to sell him permanently. So by doing that, he's benefited his development while clearing the space and financial commitments for our evolving squad. Now, Jake Evans, our youngster, Jake Evans, who plays on the right hand side, right wing, or as a striker. He's joined Northampton on loan for the rest of the season. He's found first team minutes at the club limited this year, which has prompted a loan for regular senior football at a competitive League One club. Northampton's manager Kevin Nolan has highlighted him as an exciting prospect and a good fit for their needs. There he is down of Northampton Town, obviously. Um, the impact on this will be short-term depth in forward midfield roles is slightly reduced, but this is a development-focused loan rather than a weakening of the first-team squad. Evans' move will give him valuable senior experience, helping us assess the readiness for future championship involvement. The risks and the no's of this will be it's still early in his senior career. The main focus on this is to gain experience rather than immediate impact. So my verdict on this will be maybe I would have kept him, but looking at it, it's a strategic loan to accelerate a promising homegrown talent's development with minimal downside to our current squad's balance. The last but not least is Popov. So he's a striker and he's come through from our academy. He's joined Morecambe on loan until the end of the season. He previously spent time on loan last season at Barrow. The reasons why he left, well, obviously, first team opportunities are very, very limited with us, which has led to another loan move for regular first team football. And also, Morecambe, after escaping their financial issues back in the summer, they can provide now a competitive environment in the National League for him to gain meaningful match experience. So the impact on this would be that the departure is development focused. Popov hasn't yet broken into the first team. Squad depth isn't materially affected at senior level because Popov's role was mainly at youth level. Exposure to seniors first team football should accelerate his tactical physical development. And a strong loan spell could position him for return with increased readiness. for championship action potentially. Now, my verdict on this will be, I think, is that it's a growth orientated loan, which is which will enable Leicester's young forward to gain vital competitive minutes without weakening the squad. Um, Now, to summarise the incomings, our incomings are clearly designed to raise the squad's minimum performance level, improve the organisation, and add low-cost depth rather than chase upside. Now, Jamal Lascelles will supply leadership, communication, and physical authority in defence, which may address a major weakness in organisation and mentality. Now, Joe Rebo may add some calm, experienced midfield presence, which, which is capable of playing multiple roles, helping reduce the inconsistency in central areas. Um, Divine Divine Macassa, I, I think it's Divine Macassa, I think. He'll provide technical quality and creativity as a low risk attacking option and will particularly useful when chasing games. Um, Jujuan Richards, he'll offer a physical striker profile and depth, which will give us an alternative to smaller technical forwards. So overall, one theme on this is that is experience, leadership, versatility, and minimal financial commitment. And mainly, the overall verdict on this is that recruitment is aimed at stabilising results and improving resilience, not transforming quality. The outgoings, to summarise the outgoings, is that it will reflect cost control, squad streamlining, and acceptance of financial reality. While Fast moved on after falling out of favour with the sales replacing well, some lost experience, but he's got that as well. Um, he's pretty much got that in fairness to him. He's been around 14 years or something like that. What, 12 years in Newcastle. Um, Boubacar Samori, he was sold to reduce wages and remove a high cost, inconsistent squad member. Um, so that I think this, in terms of the outgoings, I think the Samori sale that's the best one out of the lot. Um, that's the one I'm more pleased with. Um, Braybrook, Evans, and Popov loaned to gain senior minutes rather than stagnate at youth level. Um, Brandon Covert was sold permanently as part of converting academy assets into revenue. Um, so overall, this is to lower the wage bill, clear, have a bit more of a clearer squad hierarchy, and focus on development pathways. And the headline, my main headline verdict of this, I think, is that outgoings will prioritise sustainability and squad clarity over short-term depth hoarding. So, last thing I'll say is Leicester City have approached the winter transfer window with a clear acceptance of their situation, financial pressure, squad imbalance, and the realistic possibility of a points deduction. Rather than chasing short-term excitement, the club have prioritised risk reduction, experience, and squad stabilisation. Um, the incomings focus mainly on raising the squad's baseline level through leadership with Jamal Lascelles, championship proven reliability in the Weibo, and low cost attacking depth in McCaslin and Richards. None are transformational signings, but all will reduce the likelihood of collapse in key areas. The outgoings will reflect a parallel strategy of wage control and squad streamlining, moving on high cost or surplus players while protecting development pathways for younger talents. Overall, this winter transfer window will not dramatically improve our club's ceiling, but it'll strengthen our ability to grind out the points, manage adversity, and remain competitive under difficult circumstances. So the final assessment of this is that it is a pragmatic, defensive, survival-focused window that sacrifices ambition for stability. And given the context, that is a rational, responsible choice. And that's that. Okay. So there you go. That right there um, is my summarization on the transfer window. Um, we could have done with Harry Winks going because he's still the highest paid player at the club, but with the fact that we're short on options in midfield, then we have to accept the fact that he's going to end up sticking around to the end of his contract. Just put up with it. Not ideal, but what can you do? So yeah. So overall, if I was to give it out of 10, it's a difficult one. Hmm. There's still. Hmm. I probably would give it a 5 out of 10 because I can't go any higher. And the reason why, and maybe, is because, well, what we did do was add a couple of key players right to the end, even though it's not ideal that we should be doing that at the last minute. We did get rid of Somali, which is what we wanted. So, so that's money off the books, which will help. Um, Huawei's going on loan to Monaco. That's that's what we want. What we wanted. Um, um, so yeah, I think a couple of outgoings. I think we're more than satisfied with. There are one or two questionable incomings. Probably the Weibo I question a little bit, but understand it because we need to add some depth because we're short. However, we are still incredibly short in a couple of key positions. One, the left back, which we have been. I was so infuriated why we didn't address that. I'm so annoyed because we all know that's our main weakness. Why the hell did the club not address that? I was sat screaming out for one key player that I think would have got walked straight into this team, and that's Harry Amas, who was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday, done well there despite their real problems, and was playing really well. But yet, once he went back to Man United, that there was the opportunity. That was the opportunity to bring him here and say, Harry, we're short on left back options. We're going to give you game time, regular minutes for the rest of the season. No, Thomas isn't playing well. He's out of form, needs competition. Christensen's out injured. Looking, we could end up selling him. We see you as the main one of our main left back options that we can utilise so you can play and give you regular minutes. But yet, what did the club do? None of that. They allow him to go end up being on Norwich, and at the moment he's injured. Well done. I mean, come on. It's absolutely ridiculous. How can we not address that position, knowing that that's our weakness? That's our main weakness in this team. And also, well, we brought Juan, which is on loan from Chelsea, but again, is he going to slot straight into this team? I'm not completely sure because that's going to, for him, no disrespect to the lad, but it's going to he's going to have to adapt to the physicality of the league. He's going to have to adapt to the physicality of the league, and it's very very difficult. And it's the same for McCaskill as well. He's going to have to adapt to the physicality of the league. Um, so I just I think those two low sides. I think they need to. Fans may not agree with this, and that's fine. Um, I I think McCaskill and Richards need to slowly grow into the fold. I think they need to slowly embed themselves into the fold. Um, be given a bit of time to get used to the surroundings. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if both of them were on the bench at, at the weekend against Birmingham, um, and they get slowly eased in and come on as substitutes. So I think that for me is the best way to ease them in. Don't chuck them straight in. Um, I think the cells will probably It depend. It will depend largely on his fitness. That would be the question. Um, but it's a question of whether he's going to be fit enough to start. That would be the thing because he hasn't played that much. Um, so we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that it's all gone well. Um, I'll take a look. Um, very good look at it and see if it's worked well. I'm obviously um, I'm using OBS Studio um, because I think it should be a little bit easier instead of Streamlabs. So hopefully this has gone well, and I'll be I'll I don't know when I'll next do an episode of Foxes Unleashed, but yeah, but you'll know about it the next time I do one. It could be doing because there's one idea I've got on my sleeve, and that is doing the championships, Leicester's worst ever championship 11, starting 11. I could do that. Maybe that will be the one I could do next, but it's a question of how to make that work. Um, so what I'm gonna so I'll leave it there. Thank you for listening to this. Um, so until then, we'll catch you soon. Bye bye.